Welcome, welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. To those who are new, we are a group of people who have our lovely eternal child consistently within every one of us alive and well and sharing with others that which is a ventral. Okay, so you securely attached inside, bilateral, vertical, we're all integration. So I see, soothe, share, and expand myself. I reclaim and or have reclaimed every of those little orphan parts and or basically didn't lose anything. Okay, so you're safe in the feeling and you're sharing with others, and there's no shame, blame, fault, revenge. So we have emotional, mental, and physically available people here. Wholeness is achieved thanks to you feeling whole and then sharing those aspects of you deeply with another, which is where our empowered feminines and masculines come into the mix, knowing that love is patient, kind, and it does not take, it gives and it expands. Okay, so you're always expanding with those who are internally securely attached and self-aware, accountable, regulating with their thoughts and emotions, and choose restorative embodiment life and loving and all. So mindfully, spiritually, one and or in the same. As for this person, she's an empowered feminine, and I come with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit as my first lovely world and continues to be that. But then I got expanded to what are spiritual gifts, psychic gifts, clairs, neuroscience talks about it, and you name it. So telepathy is being looked into. Nobody can ruin energy, FYI. Dark matter, dark energy, you can't fuck with it. Also, there's like this universal law of physics, whatever there is out there in the science, and for spirituality, there's God, and there you go. You can't mess with God or Akash. I mean, really, you're going to notice spiritual bypassers if you are a person who's in the Enlightenment, so age group, and a 5D mystic, whether you're a mentor, content creator, podcast host or not, meaning that you know that we're not anointed. Number one, empowered feminine. Minute I got clairs, I said, oh, those people in cloaks won't like me, God. Is that okay? Because I know the past did a lot of shit. Don't worry, Maria, it's fine. Okay, so that's how it works when people are integrated brains, because we know bilateral, vertical, and overall integration, and we're again an inner child adult, so we don't need reparenting. Our whole 3-year-old, 1-year-old, and our child parts are asleep, and the higher self of me, and I know discernment, which means I don't need to actually spell it out. Know what quantitative data means versus qualitative, and I know how analyses work and why statistics are what they are. Okay, so with firm likes and dislikes, thank you, Sadhguru, you shut your doors to the many possibilities of life. Yes, as even Dr. Daniel Siegel will present. When you are behaving with non-bilateral integration, you're going to end up not being open and welcome in a flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable brain. And you'll either go rigid or chaotic. And in either or, that's not your inner auto well-being. But I'm not here to share with you all my attachment trauma information. I'm here to share with you some channeled guidance messages for my lovely group of empowered feminines and masculines. So again, you're knowing that in here, you have love. And so love is patient, love is kind, and it doesn't take from you. And that it gives and it expands you. You also know that we all come with a past. And so with that being said, your eternal child is consistently going to be sharing who you are with curiosity, with understanding, and with love with those who are also on the same journey as you. And so when you're doing Dharma, that is where the difference is that you're presenting to each other what actually not only an internally securely attached, obviously healthy relationship of empowered, badass men, women days. I'm going to be using woman here, man, or feminine, masculine. For me, I'm feminine, but the feminine, masculine is not gender specific. So you know what you are and what your counterparts are, and that stuff like that. Okay, so I love Terry Rio when it comes to partnerships. He's really great if you need somebody to work with, for a man or a woman, in either and or all cases, that doesn't know how to love themselves first. Here we do know how to love ourselves first, which is why we will apologize apologetically always, anytime you meet anyone. And that's because it's the right thing to do. As long as you're not physically threatened, there's no need for you to be in a reactive stance. You get to practice being one with your own self, and for me with Akash. Restorative embodiment means your wholeness and you're consistently enveloped by grace. That's why my channel doesn't get cut off, broken, none of that. And nobody's channel of a 5D state of consciousness and frequency and expanding spiritual mystic. But for those of you who are not mindfully living loving, you're in a flow state, so you can equate it to you just feeling really great, because integration of brain, again, as Dr. Daniel Siegel points out, is invigorating and energized because you do have your whole self, and that's why I say it's the whole 3-year-old heart, and here's our pure energy, Prakriti, and your whole self is with this brain that is completely, consistently flexible, adaptive, coherent, energized, stable, so you're recalibrating. Your differentiated self is able to come with another, so I'm able to be Maria, and I come with you. You're able to be you because you own where your body begins and ends, because you own your sense of self. So now I know we're in us. And so as he says, I'm differentiated, you're differentiated, now we're linking. And when an empowered feminine and empowered masculine link, they're linking with open hearts. And so they're creating between each other communication at the level of the heart, open-hearted spontaneity, transparency. Doesn't get challenging. Again, it doesn't get hard to do this. When you're an empowered feminine or masculine, you simply allow yourself to continue interacting, and you're going to notice if you're matching the depth that you want to experience together as you build the relationship. Now, I am going to be focusing on romance at a certain point, but really it's any relationship that you want to understand. They're all intimate. Obviously, the romantic kind has a couple of more parameters, but this is where for a solo poly, it all depends. We're not couple-centric, for example. And others might not want to be living in, whether they're monoamory or polyamory, in a different dynamic. Those are the things that you get to chit-chat about and you get to decide in time. But in the meantime, you're building a very beautiful bond. And that's where people will be in a space of uncertainty and unknowns, and those which would be uncertainties with fears of being left, which is where Terry Real is awesome for that, and anybody else. Because again, obviously we all will want, as mammals, solo self plus solo self, one consistent contingent communicator. So we actively desire to have a person to share consistently life with. Why? Well, because the animals, not our friend. I will choose the man, even though I do not trust men, not even one bit. I mean, I do, but I don't. But I do, but I don't. But, I have to watch and observe from afar. No, I won't. The reality is, let's not make it black or white. We know that we still have a lot of insecurely attached, traumatized men and women out there. It's not only men. And it doesn't matter what age they are. As long as people disregard going to get themselves healed seriously, we're going to have consistent situations with what we already know. And please, let's not, again, no exaggerated, all or nothing thinking. But Terry Real, as he shares, it's about us and how we will work together to make this work when it comes to the ecosystem of we're a team, not this is about you or me. Okay, so we don't do me versus you, we do us, and we work together and we create an ecosystem where both of us are happy emotionally, mentally, physically, and that's very easy for those who are empowered feminines and masculines, because the reality is you have, again, whether you're monoamorous or polyamorous, compersion, and the reality is you also have the thing called I respect, and you have also this thing called integrity. When you're emotionally mature and you're available to yourself and to another, this is where it doesn't get hard to love. Love consistently is patient, kind, and it consistently gives and expands. This doesn't get ruptured when you learn how it works to consistently, again, bring to each other something that will benefit the emotional, mental, and physical health. So people that I hear out there when they're looking to the mystic community for guidance, there's a lot of those who do not have a sense of safety within being a solo self all by myself. Okay, so now let's address that. Nobody is actually going to be like, I want to be all by myself. But my point is being able to be enamored with who you are from the depths of you while presenting yourself, and that's when the opportunity arises, because we don't get interested in just anyone. Okay, so solid, grounded, sense of self people are the ones that I am channeling and speaking to, not the ones who have a fear of abandonment, rejection, and or have a lack of wholeness. The people who have lack of wholeness means you don't love yourself first. It means that Terry Real or Patrick Tiahan are better than a bunch of messages from a mystic, meaning that you want to get yourself in a sense of ease when it comes to relationships. It's why they have a bunch of books on post-traumatic growth. Okay, so the Zen master has laundry. I don't have laundry. I do mindfulness, mindset practices, and also as a person who's channeling, I'm trying to make sure the right people are hearing here, not because it's any importance, but because the messages are for those who know how to process their own emotional, mental, and physical plane with the 5D state of consciousness. So it means you welcome unknowns, uncertainties, unwanteds. You don't say God punished me. You don't say Lucifer punished me. You don't have a cliche sentence of life is hard, people are hard, some bullshit statement like that. There's none of that. There's no Lucifer to blame. There's none of, stories. There's man, woman, they, human being. You got either a grown-up brain leading the way, great. Now you got a grown-up heart, and that means you're securely attached and you don't need Terry or Patrick Jehan. That's who I'm talking to. That's when people are able to actively know, okay, this relationship is really expanding me on a mental, physical, emotional, because you have your well-being in the forefront, because you know how it works to live life, okay? That's who I am chit-chatting with. So when those two, empowered feminine, masculine, come together, they're clearing karma. It's not a bad thing, but they're clearing and releasing that which is actually a lot of important things. It all depends. Everybody has a different story. So it can be a past relationship. It can be the complete distrust and mistrust of men or women, right? Okay, depends. Again, you will know what you get to work through and with. And the part about clarity and consistency is where the 5D collective is at. And so you build connections. You will build long-term growing old and gray by communicating, but you're also a person who knows how to practice the now, meaning to make it a sense of awareness that of course you have agitation when it comes to long-term. Again, that's that 0-1-year-old who is seeking to ensure, am I going to have you until I grow old? But that's the part of where, as an empowered feminine and somebody who is in that, which is mysticism, spirituality, blind faith. So from my spiritual perspective, but also from the human secondary consciousness perspective, there's no answer. This is one of those equations. The first time I evaluated it with wisdom was Marcus Aurelius' quote, why worry about something you can't do anything about, Maria? And this was a book I was reading, okay? So being able to accept that there's going to consistently be the unknown within any relationship. You're taking a risk. That's what it's called, a leap of faith. If you're honest, transparent, authentic, there's nothing to worry about because you're still going to build something beautiful. And in fact, if it's over, you're not going to be over. All of those which come before an empowered feminine can tell you they're consistently loved by me. They're consistently in my life. And then if you're mystic, well, you have an oversoul. So that's a whole different story because we will perceive our twin flames, soulmates, and there's not the need to sever anything because we already know. And so side note, empowered feminines know everything. We don't need a guide, but I do come with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, and Maria is completely here consistently because I didn't get lost as a child, okay? So I didn't have any questions. Once I got clairs, I just knew I'm opened up to a whole new world, and it's been beautiful. And when the whole twin flame stuff began to be what it is, I already knew what was going on at that point too. And for me, what I can tell you is masculines and feminines, the ones who are not empowered, yes, I consistently try my best to respect that which is a person, and people who are unaware completely of what they bring to the table. And I'm choosing on purpose to try and use words that are more accurate to what I would have expressed had I had attachment trauma information throughout those years. Said I only had 4D with their narratives and stories. So what I can tell you is people are either going to be giving because they know how to love too, or they don't know how to love, and you're going to know how to healthily set healthy boundaries, conversations, and to not be too disappointed by the time you notice how many human beings are cowards and liars, and that's men, women, and days. I mean, I don't know any days, but anybody who is still the teenager version. So what I can inform you of, even before Claire's, I saw the cowards. And then I saw more of them, and then I saw, well, I shouldn't be really disappointed. They didn't get loved. And they don't know Patrick Jehan. No, they choose not to, but it's okay. Still, again, God told me how to, leave it alone, and Jesus to forgive. So when you do commit to what you promise, you commit for a reason. Why would I not be kind and loving Why would I not offer you the other cheek if I promise it? And why would I not understand it once biologically rude is explained by Stephen Porges, which is you're not consciously choosing to be a low self-esteem, dysregulated human being. No, your 0 8-year-old is that, and you just choosing not to go to therapy for it. So I can tell you, I'm not decent enough to be saluted. It's not about decency, dude. Just didn't want to be your friend. And that's how it's going to be repeated. So when we are actual light workers, we're not 144,000. No, we also don't use star beings or light workers as our titles, empowered feminines. That's a very egoic thing to have to label yourself. If you are a person who's empowered feminine, you don't use a label. So we do know about our important information, so that we are a voice that shares information with others, and that we can support people to heal wounds, yes, and to recharge by talking to them, in my case, about being in your ventral energy and being a person who reclaims the angel that you are, and allows yourself to remember there's no demon, but those who do navigate the frequency of nightmare land, 3D, 4D, well, they still have a fear receptor that's going wonky and trauma charges, and they're playing out their trauma, and we get to hear it on screen and all that. So the angelic frequency, angels are here, you are safe, potent connection. And the 4D always likes to make it into like a special group again. Every person who is embodying the restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating individual is bringing ventral energy and anchoring in that which is a safe haven, secure base opportunity for a person who potentially wants it. The good therapists, the good ones, and the good mystics. And when I say good, I mean they're effective and they care about your mental health, your mental well-being, because your body is where you are navigating heaven from or hell, and they are not engaging in stories. For the ones who are professionals in a group, obviously, again, those leaders, there's a reason for them. In the meantime, our lovely Order of Melchizedek embraces the light. The mission is uncovered. We don't give up. And really, this one is special because there's Jesus in this order. I have to read the book, but I don't know if I have it. I think I do. And we have a couple of messages on the audio podcast if you're curious for that. And it is a series of a season with episodes, but I'm right now being focused on building us here. Okay, so here's where full system upgrade. Well, that third eye, introception. And this is really fun for any of you who feel called and drawn to it. Have you noticed the little fishy ears? So I'm going to say that might have something to do with how you hear water, how you hear, maybe you like fishing, maybe you are part fish. I know I was in one of my lifetimes a mermaid, although we find out about the sirens and mermaids. They made up the mermaids, right? Okay, so the power of the empowered feminine and masculine, our lovely solar plexus, and so the willpower to be your true self and to connect with people who are fulfilling, again, that which is soul contracts. They don't have to begin or end, but you will have met the counterpart. We were talking about this since the new moon, the full moon, the counterpart, and the communication is from a place of heart and the center of your truth, and while you are also in flow with source. And for the masculine, it's learning about authority, while the feminine continues to learn how to express her own fears, because the masculine, we all know the imbalance of masculine feminine. Again, so empowered feminine, empowered masculines understand what we have going on, and the karmic, again, board clearing. While some people think that only one group is needed, the reality is we're all here together again, and some men and women and theys will continue to navigate that which is a nervous system in sympathetic, in protection mode, with teenager version, because they don't believe in the neuroscience, neurobiology. So basically codependent, but in a way that isn't going to expand. So they sacrifice each other. They have attitudes that they don't talk about. They don't wake up more energized, more light. That's not a relationship that anybody who has healthy self-worth and is empowered and knows what true love is, woman, man, or they, will be in. This is why it's a very common sense coming out of my mouth feeling that, okay, you're not expanding me. I'll notice who's expanding me if I'm an empowered feminine? And that's even if you're a man, because it's your body and heart that says, I feel good. I feel good. No, no, yeah. And your authority, because empowered feminines have their own empowered masculine, it's going to be true, which means powerful, directed, and realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving. So it's not going to be you scaring me or being wanting to choke me or doing any of that or talking down to me or basically being the fake macho asshole man that is not in any way, shape, or form attractive at all to anybody except for the same human beings who go on screen and let you know about wedding bells. Wow, really? And thinking you have to put up with my hysteria. No, not really. You don't have to be hysterical. You could get grounded in your brain and actually learn how to use your prefrontal versus your alert, alert, alert. The prefrontal is this, and this is Dr. Daniel Siegel's hand model. So when you're an integrated brain, you don't get into somebody's face chaotically. Doesn't mean you don't get into their face. You can't get, I don't get into anybody's faces. Luckily for me, I'm not one of those. But I have been able to firmly state what I think. And whenever that happens in a way that is actually a tone, I have stories. You all remember the illiterate, that person who every now and then comes to the place where I go hang out. Yes, I told you this story. So this illiterate, he's not illiterate. It just feels like his brain doesn't know shit. That's me picking up on a person's brain. And so he's talking about things, but I'm like, there's like a blank slate. It's like, it was hilarious. He's talking to me as an online marketer about marketing. I'm like, you're not a marketer. You're not an entrepreneur. What are you talking about? But he kept on talking and I'm feeling his brain is like blank. So, long story short, illiterate did this thing where he's using gender stereotypes, which I am completely, do not bring me gender stereotypes. Any man who has ever brought me gender stereotypes, but who actually believes in them, I will have had to put up with it because I was taught about how to put up with men who are dumb. And I'm going to say I do not have any honor in thinking of men as dumb. But that's exactly where I stand when I'm hearing anyone who wants to support it. And they can keep talking. I've learned how to shut my mouth and leave it alone and say, well, that's not attractive to me. So what I was going to say is anybody who will get to know a person will be like, okay, I don't want to bring in a topic in a certain way because, again, unless I want to do it on purpose, because that means I just want to tease you. So teasing in a fun way. Okay, we are all anchoring in, again, our lovely base chakra. So strength and security are laying a solid foundation. So empowered feminines and masculines, they tease based on a lot of things that they know. But teasing is where we're having a good time. Not where I'm actively going to use that which is an ignorant, closed-minded, not to mention shallow, beyond a shadow of a doubt for any intellectually speaking human being, man, woman, or they be. It doesn't even matter. Oh, you will be like, okay, what? Because those studies are not meant to be used that way. This is what I'm talking to emotionally, mentally, physically intelligent human beings, okay? So if you think studies are meant to be used the way you see on pop shit, no, that's not what they're for. They actively are supposed to be supporting, which they are, the good academics, and they're also supporting the ones who I don't technically think is good, but hey, as long as there's academics, we're doing a great thing. Got scientists wanting to disprove reality with AI. Wow, is that fun? I don't know, but I mean, I get it because it's good to be discerning. And at the same time, karmic release. Let's see, healing the lineage, boundaries. Yes, so right now our humanity and our lovely earth is still in the process of anchoring in that which is our 5D societal state of consciousness and culture. And that's what we get to also be a part of, by the way, my lovely 5D collective here at HP, as we will continue to grow. Empowered feminines and masculines know love is kind, it gives, it doesn't take, and we're not going to make anyone who doesn't want to be in their ventral energy have to take on their restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, regulating life. No, we won't pray for them either because that's very disrespectful. To pray, meaning that they're making some sort of choice. They're making a choice based on disregarding getting their trauma healed. And there's a bunch of different great experts online, and this is the part of if you don't want information and you're not hearing the right one, again, you're choosing who you believe in. And who you believe in, what you believe in. For a person that has faith, yeah, I believe in God, I know God. And then I have academia. I know who tells me good information, and I know when I find the subjective one. I'm a subjective pseudoscience lady for a reason, because Maria chose not to go down the path of the researchers, because I learned what it would entail, and I don't want to be behind like Stephen Porges doing quantitative, plus I want to do qualitative. My point is, when you know how it works, you ain't going to use statistics to say generalized statements. Also, the stupid people do it. There's a way, it's called generalized thinking, and studies have proven that those people who use it, in fact, don't get over their post-traumatic stuff. So if you're actively aware, accountable, regulating, and want to be reflective, and want to be smart, and want to be a person who tells another human being, I know shit, well, let me think. If you do know shit, then you don't generalize. And as I got older, what I've noticed is there's a bunch of people who generalize, no matter what their degree is. And that's why. Not funny at all. But my point is, as an empowered feminine who does have that direct relationship, it's all good. We're continuing to settle into our new societal culture. The new societal culture knows that healthy self-worth, empowered men and women in days respect each other emotionally, mentally, physically, that we are an us. There's a me, differentiated self. There's a you, differentiated self. We link. From that open heart, we talk about everything. It's just not like a little cheerleading squad. No, we talk from the depths of our soul, which is very different than when you got people who don't speak from the depths of their soul. That's why, again, it's amazing. I can only tell you that those who live this are amazed. You know why? Oh, because all you need is love. Boom, boom, boom. All you need is love. Love, love is all you need. Have you heard the song of the Beatles? So in the song, the Beatles talk about it's just easy. You get to learn to be yourself. So for me, it's been easy. And for anybody else who has claimed to be their self, it's easy. For those who are having a hard time, they're now reliving another opportunity. I mean, really, again, 4D keeps on talking about people. I'm going to let you in on life's too short to be looking at what other people are doing. And if a person's not noticing that they're suffering and that they're not getting better, and these therapists have been around for plus 30 years, they're actively disregarding the one-stop good solution for nothing more than narratives. So I'm a person who, I love people, very compassionate, but the reality is YouTube is free, and I know all these people are on here. So there's not an excuse. There's a conscious choice for some to go tune in to only one group of people and to disregard all the others. The ones who need us, those of us like me who care, are the ones who are actively, we don't even know, but it's in the streets that I'm going to meet them, not on YouTube. And it's in the streets that when I'm with smart people, I'm going to be able to do more. Because that's the minute of needing the support of the smart, empowered masculines and feminines who understand why it's important for us to walk a walk and talk a talk like Jesus did. Anyone who remembers what he said about forgiving and walking with all versus the way that they would like to twist their words and change it up and make God evil and make not forgiveness part of the equation, completely disrespecting everything I learned in catechism, which is where I had no issue whatsoever informing God, hey, I don't know what they're doing. I made a promise to forgive and love, not that. Whatever that is, it's not Lucifer. That I know for sure because I've read history. Star being guides, answer the call, time to shine. So Venusian Galactic Council. Venusian makes me think of Venus, which is why I was saying all you need is love. So, we got love in the air, and that's what is really fun for those who do know how to appreciate it. And that's because, abundance and you feeling empowered, invincible. This one's really fun. So you get to get regenerated by the right person and you get to feel successful. That's because we're a team. So again, I support you, you support me, and we're in company. And that's even when shit goes down, which is why it's actually funny because you can't have a bad conversation with empowered feminine or masculine. It'll always be fine because nobody's taking anything. There's an actual exchange of two people who are true, quote unquote, badasses, because it's not, oh my God, they might reject me. Let me acquiesce and become, the little sheep or something like that. So we do Dharma, and that's because we do trust the process. What's the process? You observe, witness, narrate, and welcome the emotions and thoughts and say, oh, look, I get to share them with someone. Hey, how awesome is that? And I get to be myself. So Merkaba activation. You're all learning how to be this wonderful, empowered, feminine or masculine, depending on which one you are. Okay, so you know that, which is, again, communication as the empowered feminine and realization And so the heart-centered truth and allowing the highest expression of you come, also masculines, but I'm saying the body, your body and your gut, you're learning how to voice those emotions, the depths, and not shove it down or hide it. Okay, so you're proving that's the communication I'm talking about, and the realization. And so we got a bilateral vertical overall and a safe space. You got a safe haven, secure based person and or people. Okay, so empowered masculines are learning about authority, and that's because powerful, directed, realized, yet receptive, wise, and loving from the crown. Okay, so the bilateral, but you're also rooting it in, okay, and you're rooting in the sensuality that comes from that which is the sacral and the conception of compassion. So conception, the frequency allows you to bring you back to where all creation began. Give me a second. Reminds us of the infinite potential and possibilities of this space and what we can manifest through our own focus, awareness, and intention. So you can have focused awareness and intention when in this state of unknown, you have the capacity to be good with who you are, with compassion and what you're bringing to the world. And so that you have meaning first and foremost for yourself, because you're choosing what to bring to your neighborhood, to your family, to this is why it begins small and it's from here, but then you share it with another, and that other is helping you to feel more of that. You're expanding with them day in, day out, day in, day out. You become more of the person you've always wanted to be in the first place. When people say you have to change, the only ones who have things to change are the ones who do not have their whole self in the forefront. It's the ones who have paused selves and they disregard their adaptive child manners, which are unbridled self-expression, controlling things, and the maladaptive patterns of behavior, drugging, drinking, fucking, inner critic, outer critic, so the demons in the heads, family in the head, people who ruminate. It's very straightforward getting out of it. There's therapists out there. So people who are just online doing a bunch of different things, they're not putting it into practice. They're not embodying empowerment yet. And while the somatic therapists have told me my courses that everybody is headed the way of healing, it's the restorative embodiment, because that's your wholeness, I have seen a buttload of people following fancy man and lady in suit. And it's not because they're wielding their words in a way of tricking them. No. They're using words and expressing the way they feel about good therapists because their 16-year-old doesn't want it. Because their 3-year-old is scared shitless and ashamed, and the 1-year-old too, and the 16-year-old is spiting everything that is neutral and positive because that's how their body is reacting to the eventual energy. Their body is saying, I'm safe in protection mode because I wasn't safe in that, because they didn't get that. So they can keep twisting whatever they want. Who's following them are the same people who will react to neutral and positive in a way of actively labeling us words versus noticing, wow, so you don't like a person who knows equanimity. You don't like a person who can be happy all the time. I wonder, you might want to get that one checked out, no? Compassion supports our ability to stand by others without judgment. That's what discernment means, which is why if you say EO compassion, that's an indication you want to go get that inner child, get it online, and then maybe come back around. That's when you're going to have an empowered maybe someone, because it's when you say EO to compassion that I know, okay, I can respect it, but that trigger means you have something that got broke. Because anybody who's whole will say, wow, I have compassion. I have empathy, like I have discernment. I don't have to cast a stone. I don't need to do contempt. I can do firm kindness, which is way different because my eventual energy will come through. So firm kindness is what you use if you're an emotionally mature, empowered feminine, and emotionally mature, empowered masculine, and emotionally, mentally, all of this person who's in a higher self with a whole self, with a grown-up in the forefront, who can navigate their 1-year-old, 3-year-old, all the child parts without projecting them. And so you stand in an open heart like Jesus taught me, and an open brain, and it doesn't fall out of your asshole. You actually know humility, integrity like God taught me, and my mom. Self-respect and respect of others. Don't use the same tone that they do. Don't talk down to them. If they do, guess who's the rude person? Not you, they are. Anybody who is in a state of shame, blame, fault, revenge, and has a low self-esteem will notice what they're doing. Facades are noticeable by those of us who don't do facades, which is why the sooner they get out of that facade, the better it is, because they'll feel awesome, because they're not a facade. When you can embody the eternal child of you as a grown-up, you're going to be like, wow, because it's invigorating and energized to have integration of the brain, to have all your child parts asleep, to know if triggers come up, you're not triggerable anymore. You have mastery, you have awareness, that's what mindfulness, mindset, and mindset help. They help you to get into your whole 3-year-old with the adolescent essence. So compassion allows you to, again, stand with others without judgment and be the divine mediator between heaven and earth, spirit and matter, so that unconditional love can flow from source through our heart and into the world. And it is really an honor and a pleasure to tell you how straightforward it is with an open heart and an open throat, open chakra, throat chakra, heart chakra, to allow yourself to remember that Gaia is where we are. And we're infinitely connected to our lovely great mother and the universe who birthed us all. And she wouldn't punish us in the horrific ways that these monsters tell you. No, but yeah, volcanoes, yeah. Space weather, yeah. Do we need to rebalance? Yeah, we do want to rebalance shit. But we don't need to keep thinking that the higher power of any word you use is trying to punish with the only one story that they keep on using. Again, they divide things in twos. Is really a waste of people's time in the 5D collective's mind. Again, so I'm here for those people, not the ones who want to waste it in the good and bad, because it's not about good and bad, like the Lucifer, again, good or bad. I'm bringing to subjective thought here, okay? And empowered feminine from one perspective, because everybody's going to have their way to tell you. So here's the deal. You want to use the entirety of your brain or half a brain? Do you want to actually do something and make a difference in life or not? Do you want to spend time with the people you love and feel embodied in your body, like really grounded? Okay, great. So if you do want that, get emotionally, mentally, physically mature, then come back to me and just leave the stories alone. But really what I have to say is God always wins. There's no question. And then there's dark matter, dark energy. So I have no questions about who triumphs, who wins, da-da-da-da-da. Anybody who's needing a story and using that time in those stories, again, they're entertaining themselves, they're Peter Pans, Lost Boys, they don't know romantic love. Romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with and reflection of a conscious lover. You're conscious when you're a whole self, not when you're half a self and paused. When you're a facade, you're not really bringing yourself to the picture, you're bringing Cusco to the picture, but that's not what we have here. So change is something that you can support. Thanks to integration of brain, bilateral, vertical, and a whole sense of self. You own it, solo, narrative, relational, and core. And that's why I share with you, me and you become a we, and our bond strengthens ever more. Independently from how close or far we are, we're never going to be apart. And if you're a mystic, that's even more cool because, yeah, that one actually is fun. So change supports your ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. Oh, and you also don't lose yourself, because your third eye is all about introception, but also because you're a consistent verb now, that's when you're a whole self, you just keep feeling more of yourself. And so all those parts of yesterday's news come with you. And you get to embrace that lovely cosmic flower that you are and others are, and to call it home, to share life with that which is, again, true love, patient, kind, giving, sharing, not taking, understanding. And the magnificence of our world is then safe to be explored by both sides of a story who have emergence. And so with our sensuality and with our open crown and with our whole selves, we bring our childlike attitude of innocence and wonderment, and we celebrate the beauty that unfolds from this place. And so our relationships will consistently be full of not only our inner child, but our lovely beloved, and we will all be jaguars, the empowered jaguar, empowered feminine, who is not brought to any type of danger in the rainforest. She actually stands with courage and certainty and brings ease, and that's because we own our subconscious. So we're not bringing a nervous system that is in protection. We're bringing our souls and our whole selves, for those who don't call it souls, and we are an integrated, empowered masculine feminine, which is where this card embraces both. And the sun and moon, sometimes they also will tell you that they embrace both, and no relationship is a curse. We don't have karmics, negative energy vampires, people who are taking from you. That's actually not any of your oversoul relationships. They will always, as an empowered feminine, all my masculines and distorted feminines and any of the empowered ones brought me to where I want to be. Masculines I will have known consistently once I had clairs that they're going to get me to where I want to go. And that's not ever changed, which is why you don't ask questions. The wise owl is an empowered feminine because you know that you're not going to be giving away anything, because God doesn't ask you to sacrifice something unless you're living in tragedy land of yesterday's new. And that is a closed chapter because that's the 3D, 4D frequency, not the circle of life of the 5D frequency people who know lightning, shake, rattle, and roll. Oh, and rattling. We rattle the tree of life, which is a very different story. Thanks, Pachamama. So the luminous warriors do not do, God's going to come and test me and use an ancient textbook to actually make ourselves into mystics or spirituality group of people. Just saying. The earth keepers know about the crow and that new universal truth, which is where the 5D collective stands. And if we want to remember Jesus, he was not welcomed with open arms. In fact, he disrupted what was the system at the time. And he, in fact, shares something along the lines of, I will turn sons and daughters against their parents. Actually, that makes sense when you learn how a differentiated self is a person who maintains their own thoughts and feelings independently from their primary caregiver. At 3, that's what's me, yay. So whenever you're like, yeah, I have my own opinion, what do you want? No, we don't do it that way. But my point is that you're able to be the grown-up version and have a good time when there's differences, which you get into as you grow empowered, confident. And that's why when the moon hits the, what is that song? When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie, that's amore. So the moon, probably, who knows, at the next full moon or the next new moon, we got some shit going on. The many paths, you've come a long way to get to your empowered feminine masculine journey. And now that you have counterpart and or counterparts to share it with, the beauty way is what you found, and that's with the mind and the heart and the gut, and that's your sorcerer of your own self, your own subconscious. You're wielding it, and with time and you being the master of it, thanks to knowing how to use the inner growth mindset, that wind. So you are thoughts and emotions, and you see clearly, and like the little hummingbird, you can go far, and like the corn, you're ready to bloom and to pick up harvest and whatnot. However those words go. So again, it's a very beautiful day for those who are empowered masculines and feminines, the 5D collective. As always, the ascension energies have us expand and we expand together. And for the 4D, 3D, they still have plenty of time to choose what they want to do. In the meantime, the ones who are definitely going to be doing Dharma are the ones who take seriously bringing their inner child to life and having a good time with us and supporting intellectually, emotionally, physically the earth and those changes in a way of bringing us together while respecting those who have differences. Again, not everybody is going to want to be in their ventral energy. They don't have to. Nobody's going to make them. That's actively something. We respect the laws. We look to the laws. We do our best. And then we share the good news for those who do want to have it in the body. It's called Heal Your Inner Child stuff. If there's any of that, heal personality disorder stuff, and stop talking about Lucifer, please. There's neuroscientists who have plenty of proof and more about how your brain and embodied brain works. And so own the brain, mind, and the body. Own the self, own the heart, own the gut, and come on over and join us and continue enjoying. If you're mystic or clairs, we're going to talk more about that. And a personal development person, keeping on becoming more of yourself. So it'll be an honor to be back again with you all. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. It'll help the channel grow. And have a wonderful day.